Hello, Campfire Mike here, with a story most folks have never heard, the fishy tale of Yakutat, Alaska. Ever heard of it? Didn't think so. Now, why on earth would anyone build a railroad in a place nobody can even point to on a map? Well, friends, that's where things get as slippery as a silver salmon in wet hands. Back in 1899, Congress passed the original Alaska Railroad Act, a little-known law that didn't just lay down tracks. It handed private companies free land, free docks, and all the timber, gravel, and stone they could haul off federal ground. But here's the kicker. If you parked a cannery on that dock, you got the salmon, too, for nothing. No royalties, no fees, not even a nickel to the District of Alaska. And we're not talking a few fish for supper. We're talking a tremendous haul, year after year. The Situk and surrounding waters ran so thick with salmon you could almost walk across their backs for miles. That, Campfire friends, is why rails ended up in this soggy corner of the coast, because moving fish, not gold or copper, was the real business. Hidden on the Pacific Ocean, on Alaska's wild coast, the fish train, another one of Alaska's first. And yes, the fish train is real. But before the train, a little history. Way back when, the year 1795, Russians tried to muscle in, built a fort for their fur trade. Within 3 years, the Yakutat Tlingit no longer welcomed the Russians and attacked the Russian-American Company fort, burned it down, and forced the Russians to flee. The Russians never rebuilt. Smart, goodbye forever. Don't mess with the Tlingit, known for their warrior skills. When Alaska became a district of the United States, due to the First Organic Act, effective May of 1884, providing civil government authority and a governor appointed by the president. In other words, no federal law enforcement, civil authority was non-existent in Alaska then, and did not exist in Yakutat, where fishing sabotage, with nets being cut and boats sank at the dock, ran rampant. A railroad would solve this problem. The Y and S Railroad became reality. The Yakutat and Southern Railway, a narrow-gauge railroad to where the fish were. In the year 1903, a fellow named Webster Brown came to Yakutat with a survey crew. He didn't just lay out a rail line, he platted the cannery too. And thanks to the original Alaska Railroad Act, every bit of it was built on land the government gave away, with timber, gravel, and stone taken freely. The rails led straight to the dock, and the dock led straight to the mouth of the Situk, where the salmon runs were so heavy you could hear the water boil with fish. Free fish now. That's a deal you won't find in any Sears catalog. Yakutat is one of the most remote towns in Alaska. When I said soggy earlier, I am talking about averaging over 130 inches a year, one of the wettest places in the world. And the ice from the nearby Hubbard Glacier, massive calved ice into Disenchantment Bay. Just floating ice cubes larger than a building, free ice was used, loaded onto the train with the fish at the Situk. This railway ran according to the tides, so moon trains often ran at night, and canneries worked throughout the day. Pictures by a simple box camera taken by Seiki Kayamori captures life in Yakutat with historic accuracy. And, as always, history moves on. By the 1930s, Yakutat's little railroad was running like clockwork, shuttling iced boxcars full of salmon from the Situk River straight to the cannery dock. Every season, the nets came up heavy and the canning lines ran long into the night. Within a decade, the big runs weren't what they used to be. Smaller runs, year after year. No rules for overfishing. The fish still came, but not in the tremendous waves folks remembered. With catches slipping and new roads making trucks more practical than rail, the Yakutat Southern Railway started to lose its reason to exist. The rails were rusting, and Yakutat Fish Train was headed for the history books. Until Yakutat was in for another kind of boom, and this one didn't have gills. A secret airfield quietly being built by the Army in 1939, 2 years before the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The Army needed the railroad to build the airstrip. About 4 miles down the rail was an area for a perfect top-secret airfield and perfect for keeping an eye on the Aleutians in case the Japanese came knocking. Overnight, because of the Army airfield, the population went from a few hundred people to thousands of soldiers, engineers, cooks, medics, the whole works came to Yakutat. Large bombers could land at the airport to resupply Elmendorf and other points along the Aleutian chain of islands. Yakutat provided a direct support for a complete spectrum of needs, including fabricated parts by the railroad workers after the Japan attacked both Attu and Kiska Islands in the now territory of Alaska. Decades rolled by, Alaska became a state. Then Yakutat was used by the military and early warning systems called White Alice, first using tropospheric scatter radio, and then satellite radio communications were added in the late 1970s. Today, the fish still run in the Situk, the gulls still argue over the best fish parts, and if you walk the old rail bed you can almost hear the echo of Ole's whistle in a damp Gulf wind. History's like that. It leaves a trail, and it's up to us to remember it. Yakutat, its fish train, and the secret airbase are some of Alaska's best-kept secrets, and the Situk is a world-class steelhead fishing location with 20-pounders. This is a real and true story of another of Alaska's first and only fish train. You see, all other railroads built in the world for fishing were from the cannery for distribution to the stores. These rails were only built to haul fish packed with ice to the cannery. Our state fish is the king salmon. I'm Campfire Mike, and I sure appreciate you sitting by the fire with me this evening. If you enjoyed the true and unknown stories about Alaska, give this a like and click that subscribe button. It's free, and it helps keep the stories rolling down the tracks and trails. Until next time, keep your campsite clean, your coffee hot, and be loud and strong like that Alaska spirit. Well, Campfire is just glowing embers now, and time to say goodnight. All of my Campfire chats either reveal an economic legacy or historical Alaska facts. This is Campfire Mike, signing off.